So this is the Lima 34 shovel. Just got home. Take a little walk around. It's got the narrow pads on it, which is why I wanted it, because it's under width. No permit needed. Bucket could use some little bit of work. So some of the things I need to address. Hoist cable should be anchored down here at the bottom of the boom. Looks like somebody added these ones on. I'm not sure what they put them on there for, but we'll have to move that down here. That's an easy fix. This is the house brake. Does not lock. So I'll have to see what's going on with that. Need to move the bucket trip up a little bit. Just needs some, it's supposed to be a chain. Maybe I'll put the chain back on it. It needs some adjusting. This lever that switches from swing to travel, there's a spring that's supposed to be in here. This one has it. See them right in there. Need them for this lever, and then I noticed this bell crank is upside down, so it interferes with the linkage for the brake for the house. No throttle. The throttle would have been set up here along with the shutoff. Radiator has a leak. It says the Detroit 371 in it. The governor, the shutoff works, but the speed control doesn't. So I gotta figure out what's going on in there. So that's probably what I'm gonna work on now before it starts to rain. Says the shoe style swing clutches for the reversing shaft, which isn't what the other machine I have has. It's the chain case oil. Looks like gear case oil is a little low. Needs a good power wash. Does have a muffler on it. The factory muffler would have came out the top of the house and been horizontal. Got a couple spots here. A little bit of rod in it. Cut them out. It's a pretty straight machine. Alright, I'm gonna dig into the governor and see what we got. So I got the governor figured out, I'm pretty sure. This piston in here, this is for the speed control. This was froze up. Stuck wide open. So that's all nice and free now. There's two shims in there. So I think I can put this back together. This was pretty crusty in there. So I'm gonna start putting this back together and see if we fixed it. So that did fix the governor. I had to adjust the idle screw. Tightened up the chain here for the crowd and I started to soak it a little bit. All I did was move this pin up one hole, so it's not touching these wear plates. I'm sure it'll dip down here once I use it a little bit and it gets a little more freed up. So here's our parts haul for today. This is the correct throttle assembly for the Detroit. We've got one of the brake pedal locks. One of the ears is broken off on mine, on the shovel. Grab the wrench. This is the adjusting wrench for the swingers on the dragline. It uses the disc style, and it's got that big adjusting ring with all the holes in it, so that's what this is for. This is a broken spring for one of the levers, but I'm hoping maybe it's good enough I could re-drill it and use it. This is the linkage for the dipper trip. Mine's got some kind of, I don't know, thing on it. The hook, they maybe JB welded or welded to the end of it. I'm going to see if this cleans up. This is the bell crank for the shifter for swing and travel. Tightening up mine yesterday, I cracked the ear off. And then this is the stop. Goes in the top of the cab for the door. So, I mean, some of this stuff would have been easy enough to make, but it was there. So, the only thing I should have grabbed was the flange for the exhaust. It's like a thick square flange. They're like $130 to buy them new. Probably could have got that one there a lot cheaper. So, let me take you up here and show you what I got done. This is the window frame, but so I flipped that bell crank over because it was interfering with the house brake. But looking at that machine I just took the other one off of, it was facing down also, but my other one's facing up. I don't think it really matters, but I think I'm going to leave it like that, even though you can see it's cracked. I broke it by accident. But that shaft should slide out no problem now. I had it all cleaned up. Working on the crowd chain. So I got a straight edge across the chain, and you want 2 inches of sag in the middle. So out in the middle here, and we've got about 3 5/8. So I gotta take a little bit of the sag out of this and do that with these adjustments down here. I already got the other side loosened up. Just gotta bring it up even. I brought it up probably a good 2 inches on the adjuster. Gap is right at 2 inches. So, didn't really get to try it out before to see how it worked, but this is what the book calls for the spec on that, so should be good enough, right? A little more progress. I got that bell crank replaced. And then on the inside here, I got a spring put in this, and I built the end of this up by brazing it and then ground it. So now it locks in. And then I just did this truck lock. I had to re-arch the spring for this. So no more bungee cords to hold things in. Alright, so I think we're ready to go. Show you what I've been working on. Got this chain lubed up. The handle, I greased it instead of putting crater on it right now. I had some old tubes of grease I needed to get rid of, so I figured that'd be a decent place for it. Everything's been greased. I put 5 gallons of 140 gear oil in the gear case. Takes 10 gallons. It's not showing on the stick yet, but I'm not level. And I'm not sure if it'll actually hold oil or not. I guess it was a common thing to have water get in the case and push the seal out of the bottom of it. Grease the whole undercarriage. I still got to grease the hook rollers in the back here and hit a couple of the linkages, but there's so much grease under this right now I didn't want to crawl under it. Got new oil in the chain case. Battery cables and a disconnector hooked up. Radiator's back in. I'll put a little clip of the leaks I found. Radiator shop wanted $2,000 for new tanks and new core. I took this metal surround off this frame, and I just found the tanks had come apart at the seam. So I removed the shroud on this radiator. Looks like it's just the seam on the bottom tank that's leaking. I thought it was rotten out, but seems alright. Here's the surround. Clean all that up and should be able to put this back together. And then the core was a little rotted. Those tubes were pretty rough shape. I couldn't really get them clean, so I just JB welded them. Put a chain on this dipper trip. I just got a shirt wrapped around this seat because it's in rough shape. Chain's hooked up here, that's all ready to go. Got the throttle and a fuel shut off, just push to shut it off. Starter button. So I think we're ready to fire it up and grease those last few items. And then hopefully try to dig with it. can see the massive amount of oil and grease that was under this thing. Not including what I already threw out. So I'll have to shovel all this up and get rid of it. So I'm going to grease a few things in the back of it. The rollers and some of the linkages. And then we'll give it a shot digging.